4 types of offers that create a money model. Let's dive in. So number 1 is how we broke the gym industry, and then we'll go into the 4-pronged money model, the 4 components, the 4 types of offers that exist. All right? So how we broke the gym industry. So I used to get gyms full. So what I just talked about earlier was my model at Gym Launch. But what created this, and the reason I'm telling you this story is to show you how many different industries this structure of creating a good money model works in. And so I used to open gyms at full capacity on day 1. And so this is a video. This was my first, this ad made me $10 million. So it was sick. I was 26 and it was awesome. It is how you would imagine it sounded. Honestly, it did feel like it was something I was doing was illegal. I found out later it's completely legal to advertise and make money. It just, sometimes the stars align. And so what I would do is I would go into a neighborhood and, this one I did 191 signups in 19 days at $500 a pop. And this is me holding up all the $500 contracts that I had sold like in the middle of nowhere. All right. And so this is the old way that gyms worked. And the reason I'm outlining this is because this might be how your business works. And in the gym industry, this is what all the gurus at the time were teaching. It was something that they called the LBO model, which has nothing to do with leverage buyouts. An LBO model in the gym world was a low barrier offer. All right. So it's like trials, super discount things. But the thing is I talked about earlier having a discount thing as the front end, but then they didn't have anything else to sell. So the discount stuff works, but you got to have the thing to sell to make your money back. But this is how it used to work. So the old way that people did low barrier offers was that they would run trials. So they'd run $19 months, $21, 21 days, things like that. And so right off the bat, if you had 10 people walk in the door, 2 would not buy. So now you got 8 left who buy a trial or buy the discount offer at $29, $19, $21, whatever. Now, this guy doesn't convert, this guy doesn't convert, this guy doesn't convert, this guy doesn't convert, this guy doesn't convert. We get 3 because the industry average is 35% of trials would convert. So not 35% of people who showed up, 35% of people who started the trial. So being generous on this one, 3 out of the 8 continue on. All right. So this is what the math looks like. So 30 days later, our total gross profit is $600. Our revenue per show up is $60. Our revenue per trial, $75. Okay. This is what we did. So we would get 10 people in the door. Now we would know, we closed fewer off the bat, but we would sell to goal. So we'd get one person to take a 2K package, the majority of the other ones to take, $500 type program, and then somebody taking half that distance of the $2,000 person. All right. So that's layer 1. Then we would upsell meals because they're going to want to have food. Then we would upsell supplements, on average $85 of gross profit per person, not revenue, gross profit. And then we'd get these 2 people to commit to a year after their duration of their program. And then we'd get them to prepay for the year with another discount on the back. And you could do all of this in 30 days. And so our total gross profit was $96.44. Remember the old one? 600? $96.44. Revenue per show, $960 compared to 60. Revenue per close, $19.28 in the first 28 days. This is how we broke the gym industry. When I say broke, I really just mean fixed. We fixed the acquisition model. And so that's the math comparison. And so with the new way, my gyms could outspend gyms doing the old way 25-1. It wasn't even like coming to a fist fight with a knife. It was coming to a fist fight with a B-52 bomber. Like we weren't even on the ground. We were just dropping bombs. Like, there was no way to compete. And a lot of big franchises didn't catch up and basically went out of business or became just like ghosts. Like people just didn't renew and they're just kind of like they fizzled out and faded. And so like, this is also a message to the people who do lead industries. I was a young kid and I had this model, and the right move that they should have done competitively was take all my shit and immediately disseminate it. That would have been the right move. That's what Zuck did with Snapchat, and they had their stories. He just immediately like, oop, I'm gonna take that, distribute it immediately. But instead they postured against and were like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And then we ended up just destroying them because the math's the math. Like you cannot like that you didn't innovate it, but you can't execute on it. And so one thing that I also want to break in terms of perspective here is that as much as you may not like it, a business model is not patentable. It's not IP. An offer that you may create, a great headline, a free 6-week challenge, not IP. anyone can advertise an offer. And so it's a double-edged sword in terms of learning this power, because it is a speed game. Because basically, you want to advertise this stuff, you want to rip as much money out as you can before the rest of the world catches up. And then guess what happens when the rest of the world catches up? You do it again. You innovate the model again. And so there's always going to be followers, and there's always going to be leaders. But the thing is, the leaders get to make 80% of the profits, because by the time everyone else catches up, we already pillaged the land, using a more, violent terminology. We seeded and farmed the land, and we reaped the fruit of the land that it gave us. Whatever, you get the idea. Okay, so this was the thing that broke it for them. So boom, we had service. We sold the goal, so we sold way higher ticket instead of doing a $21 thing. We sold nutrition and supplements. We sold continuity, and then we did prepayment. So all four of these things we did in the first 30 days, and that's how we could drag the cash forward. All right, and so if for some reason someone didn't buy the first offer thing, we had a downsell flow. We sold the goal, then we sell a smaller package, then we sell a free trial with penalty, then we sold a free trial with no commitment, and then we did a free orientation. And so what I mean is, like, let's say somebody didn't want to do the free trial. So, for example, these people, they didn't buy any service. But how do we get money out of them? We said, hey, no worries. Why don't you just come for a nutrition orientation? We just want to help you out for free. People come to nutrition orientation not having signed up for the gym, and we'd sell them $300 in supplements. So we still made money from no's by selling them a different way to get to their goal. So that was the downsell flow for service. For supplements, we would sell a full supplement bundle, then we'd sell a 4-pack with extras. So we'd add a couple pieces in, then we'd downsell just to a 4-pack. And then we'd have it on continuity, then no continuity, then we'd do extras only. So we'd work our way down that whole thing. And then the meals flow, same deal. We'd work our way from biggest all the way to smallest. And then continuity, we'd go, again, sell to goal, smaller package, and then month to month. And then finally, the prepayment is we'd prepay the whole package, prepay for a discount, prepay the next month, and then we just get the commitment. Just say, fine, you're in continuity now. And all of this, if you're looking at the days, this is day 21 to 28, 14 to 21. And this is upfront, and this is within 48 hours. So all of these things are happening fast. All right, so that is how we broke the gym industry. So now let's talk about all the things that I just did, but we're going to chunk up so that you can apply it to any business. All right. So there's attraction offers, upsell offers, downsell offers, and continuity offers. The objective of each of these: attraction offers is to liquidate how much it costs you to get a customer. Upsell offers are to maximize profit. Downsell offers are to maximize conversion. Continuity offers are to stabilize cash flow in the business. There are many ways to accomplish CFA. Some businesses can do it with only one offer. Some businesses get funding, so they don't need to break even to get customers because they have outside money that's injected into their system. But for everyone else, probably watching this, I will explain a model that I have seen emerge over and over and over again within the businesses that I built. So when I look at every single amazing business that I've built that's made a lot of money, they had these things pretty much in this sequence. And it doesn't happen all at once. It just often becomes something that you build towards. So to be very clear, I'm not saying you start with a fully fledged money model, because it will break your whole business in half. You want to start with one, you start adding in layers, like layers of paint. You just keep putting more and more layers on it. And so again, you can build an amazing business with just one or two of these things. And sometimes it's worth keeping it simple and just doing that. If you can scale I want to scale with as few offers as humanly possible, but I still want to maximize how much money I make in the shortest period of time. So if I have to add more, I will, to enable me scaling. But I want to have as few as I can, because I want to have as little operational drag as possible. All right. And so it has 4 prongs or 4 different vectors and different offers that correspond to each objective. All right. So this beautiful little image took me a very long time to figure out. Right. And so we have attraction offers that bring people in the door. We have upsell offers that typically happen immediately after, that get people to buy more stuff. We have downsell offers for people who don't say yes to either of these things, so we can still get conversions, then potentially upsell them later. And then we have continuity offers on the back, which get them into a recurring cash flow payment to the business. And so let's explain how they all work together to make a symphony of CFA. All right, so here we turn strangers into customers, come to spend more money. Lower CAC is to get people to say yes when they would have said no, which is what you offer when they say no. And then continuity, you keep people buying, all right, which is meaning you get them to buy again. All right, so those are the 4 prongs. And so, like I said earlier, this is just showing it through that same model, the Gym Launch model. So we used the books and the lead magnets and the podcasts, things like that. It's free. Then we sold them an upfront cash thing. So we generated upfront cash with the next sale with the 16 weeks. Then we would maximize profit by getting them to upsell supplements, then sell our supplements on our behalf. And then we built continuity, which is the 3-year licensing. which is the 42,000 a year. And note, I'm not saying that you have to use all four. I'm just saying I noticed that my most successful companies did, and many companies you only use one or two. Okay. So let's look at the model that I showed earlier with weight loss. We had a free promo, get people in. We got cash by selling challenges so that they could get their money back or sell to goal, either one. Then we would sell supplements. Then we would sell memberships. All the way through. Rental car. $19 a day gets me in the door. Then pretty much everything was upsells. So these kind of all happened at once. So I'm saying like this is just a model. Like it's more about the business. So we had all the insurance, the late payback, the gas, the upgrade in the car, all that stuff. All right. And then continuity is where they say, great, do you want to enter our rewards program? And so great money models can include multiple in the same business. So you can notice here, like there's some here, there's multiples here. There was insurance, there's multiple upsells. So it's not like you only have to have one, you can have multiple things there. Through the rest of our time together, I'll show you genius ways that other entrepreneurs have stacked and recombined these things to make lots of money. And I will only show the ones that I also then used, modeled that in my businesses and what we did. All right. Ka-ja! 4 types of offers. So with that being said, we will begin our ride along apprenticeship, which is the next one.